Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of It's Rich Endurance Sports Podcast. Today is Wednesday, November the 3rd, and this is episode number 15 of season number 3. Please follow us on our social medias at The Dan Gets Rich on the Instagram and the Facebook, and thanks for following along with us here on the Facebook Live. You can also check us out on the YouTube machine, I think. Dan, is that correct? My name is Richard Parks, and I am joined, as always, by, the Danimal himself, Daniel King Dan Co. What's up, Dan?
What's going on, Rich? It's so good to have you back, man. I feel the energy. Welcome back. You took that week off. You took down the pickleball tournament, kicked everybody's ass down in Orlando. So congratulations to that. And now he's back on the show, ready to go.
Ready to go,
I
man.
love it.
Yeah,
how,
man.
How was
kind of. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, tell me about your pickleball experience, man. I just saw a text and I said, "Hey, how'd you do? Are you gonna make the podcast?" And you're like, "No, I'm fucking winning. That's what I'm doing."
Yeah, so if you go late in the day in a pickleball tournament, you're obviously doing well. So the day got later and later and later, and I was playing in the 50+ mixed doubles. Is my first endeavor in mixed doubles, and mixed doubles in pickleball is a weird thing because the male, this is going to sound bad, but the male generally takes up maybe 70% of the court, and the female defends the rest, and that's kind of just the way it is. But I'm blessed to have a really, really, really good, strong lady on my side, and she can defend herself with anything. So we took down the 50+ 4.0 division pretty easily. I guess we got to move up next time we play and play in a 4-5 division. And there's some really, really, really good players kind of playing that division. You start dipping your toes into some really, really good players at a 4-5 division. So next time it'll be maybe a little different, but we had a good time, and I really appreciate Average Joel sitting in for me. I know that it was the first time that I wasn't on the show, but I couldn't have a better person filling in for that, and I appreciate him being on.
I got to ask you, because you always do the intro and you bring such gusto when we start the show off that it sets the whole tone for the show. And Joel was a little bit more subdued and, didn't get us fired up. What'd you think of his intro mocking what you do?
I don't think it was mocking. I don't think it was mimicking. I think it's Joel's a very kind of conservative, kind of put together person, and I'm everything opposite of Joel. I'm different from Joel, and I love Joel. I love Joel. I wish I had a little bit more of that kind of mellowness, but I'm a little bit different, and I thought he did a good job. All in all, he did a fantastic job.
No, Joel's great to have on, and he's always worried about being like well spoken and how people perceive him. I don't know if that's true or not, but that just seems the type of person that he is. Whereas we don't really care; we just do whatever we want.
No. I really rarely care what anyone else thinks about me in any way, shape, or form, good or bad. I wish I had. Maybe that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. But you had a great guest. It was a fantastic show. I mean, I saw our numbers. Our numbers were sky high compared to when I'm usually on. So obviously having a good draw of a great guest had people turning out to listen.
I don't think that had anything to do with what we were doing. Everybody wanted to listen to the Guinness Book of World Record holder, Sam Crozier. They could care less Joel and I were even on the show. Sam could have just held court for an hour and they would have been the same numbers. Probably would have been a little bit higher. I don't know. I'd like to say, I think as far as that goes, we probably detracted from some of the people because they didn't want to listen to us talk.
I don't blame them. So anyway, it was a good show, man. It was a good time. How are you doing, man? I haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks. What's going on?
Not much, man. I was in Austin last week, out for a conference. So, well, I say Austin. I was in Austin Thursday night. I was in Horseshoe Bay for the 3 days prior to that, and first time I've ever been to Texas. Spending a few days there. I've been to Dallas for a motocross race, in and out. As you like to say, nobody gets hurt in on a Saturday morning, out on a Sunday morning. But other than that, no, I really enjoyed it. Played golf in a tournament, and the wind was blowing about 30 plus miles an hour sustained with gusts of 40. So there were some par fours that I'm hitting driver 3-wood, and I'm still 50 yards short of the green on a par 4. It made for a very interesting golf day for sure.
You're jumping out of your shoes, driver 3-wood, and you're still 9-iron to the green, huh? that's a long day, buddy.
Yeah, it was definitely.
How was the Austin scene? How was the Austin scene? I heard. I mean, like I understand Austin's like very groovy, just very like hip, just very got it together. And I mean, when I think of groovy and hip and got together, one of the first things that comes to mind is Daniel Cole.
I'm glad I have you fooled, because I don't have anything together.
Hip and groovy and with the scene, is Dan. Dan, he's with the scene.
I am so far removed from the scene. I can't even see the scene.
Oh, Dan, you probably stuck out like a 6'6" sore thumb there, walking around Austin, Texas. I'm just kidding.
So I got a great story. We fly into Austin. I'm with my boss and one other guy. We're flying in for a conference. The only van or the only car that they had at the rental place was a 12-passenger van. That was it. That was the only thing that they had. And I was like, well, I guess that's what we're going to call it, the party bus for the week, right? And so I literally drove around this 12-passenger van all week, but driving it in certain areas is not very conducive. I mean, it's, you're in downtown Austin. It's not the easiest place to get around. So we stayed at the Aloft hotels in downtown Austin on Thursday night, and all the parking's like on the street, right? There's only a few parking garages that are left. I can't get the van into any of the parking garages because the van's too tall. And so I pull up to the Aloft and I was like, oh, sweet, they have valet. I'm just going to valet it and let them figure it out. So I give them the keys, and they take it. I'm up there checking in. Not 2 minutes later, the guy walks up, hands me the keys back, and says, I can't park your car. I said, what do you mean? He goes, I can't get in the garage. And I was like, you have no other place to put this? And he's like, no, but you can go find a parking garage or open space place to park. And I was like, well, where's that? And he goes, oh, you go down to the next street, you take a left, you take a right, and you take another left, and you'll be right there. And I'm like, what? Okay. So I literally drove around Austin for the next hour trying to find a place to park, because all the places that you could park that weren't on the street, I was going to have to parallel park into one of these that was going to be very, very tight. And with a 12-passenger van, I don't know if my skills were right there yet. So I was looking for a place that I could just pull into. And of course, all the places you couldn't park there until like 8 o'clock at night. So I would have had to find a place until 8 to go there. And then I would have had to remove the car by 7 o'clock in the morning the next day. And so I drove around, finally found this place. It was probably about 1.5 miles away. Everybody's texting me. They're like, where the hell are you? You've been gone for like over an hour. I'm like, yes, I'm still trying to find a place to park. The guy basically told me I was on my own. And so finally I found a place. I said, screw it. It was $50 to park it overnight. And I just left it there. And as I pulled in and I'm parking, there's some lady sitting there with a boot on her car. I didn't even know they still did boots. I couldn't even tell you last time I saw a boot on a car. Do you remember last time you saw one?
No, I mean, you must have done something very, very bad to get booted up. I guess a city like that where there's always downtown parking, and if you just neglect to pay your tickets, at some point in time, the boot's coming on.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think she either paid and was there longer than she said she was going to pay, or didn't pay at all. So anyway, I was very concerned about leaving the van there, because I was like, man, I wonder if this is actually going to be here in the morning. So anyway, took my chances, because at that point I said, screw it. I didn't really care anymore. And if Avis didn't have their 12-passenger van the next day, that was on them. So anyway, I
It was
parked it
not
there
your
and had
fault.
the.
So I thought you were going to say, Dan, I thought you were going to say you downloaded the Uber app and started driving and delivering people and made a few dollars on your trip.
That would have been better. But you know what part of the best experience is? And they should have these in every city. You and I experienced them for the first time back. You're wearing the
scooters.
Endurance Exchange hat, the Bird, right? How great is the Bird?
Yeah.
So I got one of my coworkers. We were going out and we were trying to find a place to eat for dinner, and they had birds. I'm like, let's bird it. And he's like, what? I've never been on a bird. Kind of the same experience we had. We were a little hesitant to get on, and then all of a sudden you rip it back and boom, you're off at like 20 miles an hour, ripping down the streets of Austin. And let me just tell you, they have about 8,000 birds there. I don't even know how people aren't getting hit left and right, because they don't look anywhere. They just cross the street. They don't even slow down, man. You're in a car, you got to look one way, the other way, back the other way, and back again before you turn, because there are birds everywhere. But anyway,
it's a bird heavy environment. It's a bird heavy environment there. You got to be.
And traveling with people, obviously Lance Armstrong's from Austin, and, he has his, Mellow Johnny's bike shop there. And of course we were in Austin. I was like, oh man, I'm going to go check it out. So I'm going into a bike shop with two people who know nothing about bikes, not one thing. And so we walk in or care. And so we walk in there and they're like, whoa, and I was looking for a couple things, and ended up buying a t-shirt when I was there, and they were looking at the bikes and they're like, holy crap, bikes cost this much? I'm like, you're not even in the expensive bike section. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Let's go over here. I'll show you an expensive bike.
And then, they're looking at the cycling apparel, and my boss, who's shorter than me and weighs probably, 30 pounds more than me, maybe a little bit more. And he pulls out one of those cycling shirts and he's like, who's wearing this? What do you do with this?
Normal
I'm like, it's supposed
people.
to be tight.
So I'm curious, what price point were they looking at when they thought that was an expensive bicycle? What do you think?
Looking
$5,000, $6,000,
3,500 to about 5,500 was the range that they were looking at. So it's a decent price point, but when I told them that I know people that spend in excess of 15,000 on their bikes, I think their jaw hit the ground.
Yeah, you can definitely get into five figures on a bicycle pretty easily if you wanted to. That amazes people. That's a nice used car, if you will.
And they say, you have to pedal. Let me get this straight. You spent that much and you need to pedal it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I've got an electric bike. We can go. Halloween was a couple days ago. Did you dress up as anything, Dan? Did you have any big plans with the Halloween? Hallows Eve?
No, Halloween, I think, and I might be the only one, I think Halloween is the dumbest holiday out there, and it's not geared towards little kids anymore. It's for like adults who hate their lives and want to live in a fantasy world for one day and dress up like somebody else. Like, that's what I think of. I mean, it's just craziness. Anyway, no, I'm absolutely not a Halloween person at all. I don't like handing out candy. I don't like people on my doorstep. I don't like to talk to people. So it's like the worst of all. It's like the worst of everything that you can have all combined and wrapped up into one little night. And, I'm not a big fan. How about you, Rich? Did you dress up?
I'm kind of the same, Dan. I think it's like a pagan holiday or whatever, but it's we did dress up. I dressed as a pickle, and we had our neighbors had and it was spontaneous. We weren't going to do anything. Our neighbors were next door and they had a table. And really, our neighborhood is very conducive to a lot of the trick or treaters. It's a very walkable neighborhood. And about a block over, they put on a nice layout for the kids and for the adults to go trick or treating. They have like the candy in the front and the fireballs in the back, all the way down the street. So our little neighborhood is very conducive for it. Our neighbors said, "Hey, we're going to put out a little table and hand out some candy. Come on over." And we just happened to have a pickle outfit, and Janine put on the banana. So we were the pickle and the banana. So we just walked next door and kind of hung out. And there's a lot of kids out. I was just surprised how many people were out doing their thing. Last year, trick or treat was obviously non-existent because of the COVID, and so I don't know. So it was a lot of good times.
Can you get through Halloween as an adult without drinking and drinking heavily? Like that's how you do it, right? I mean, that's the only way to make it through.
I think it's part of it, but I think you can. And we're, like I said, our neighbors are just kind of chill. We were just kind of handing out candy. Once it got a little bit dark, so the older kids started coming around, and then you think they're gonna mug you. You're not really sure, so you go inside, and it's all over. So
do kids still egg houses anymore? Is that like a thing anymore?
I don't think so. They probably do it electronically online. They egg you online or something. Somehow they throw eggs.
They send you an egg. They send you an egg NFT, and that's what you have.
Yeah, it's an egg NFT, and you go, "No, they've egged me. I got to clean that off of my NFT browser or whatever." And so we do. With the toilet paper and thing. How about that one?
Oh yeah, I haven't seen anybody's home being toilet papered in quite some time. Maybe we need to go out there and do that, Rich.
Yeah, bring the toilet paper in back, throwing rolls of toilet. Well, these days, I mean, when things started literally shit started hitting the fan, the toilet paper, the value of toilet paper, the commodity went sky high. Nobody wanted to, you went from, you might be a three piece of toilet paper down to one, like got to conserve this. So these days you're not throwing toilet paper over tree branches. I don't think.
No, expensive. You get back when COVID first started, if you had the 2-ply, you were tearing it in half to do the 1-ply to save. I mean, I'd never seen anything like it. You couldn't find toilet paper in any store for months.
We were fine here at the Parks household. Janine, thankfully, is someone who buys in bulk and buys in advance. So, we don't run out of like the necessities. And for some reason we had a little backlog of that. So if you ever need like an incandescent light bulb that you can't find anymore, come to me. We've got you.
Hey, I rode my bike this weekend. I know you'd be proud of me. So I ran. So Juan texts me while I'm in Austin. And as you know, I have not been doing jack for training, right? Like 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. And so he texts me, he goes, "Hey, at the end of November, you want to pace a marathon for me?" And I was like, not really. That doesn't really sound like exciting or something that I want to do. But I said, I'll get back to you. I said, if the farthest I've ran up to this point, leading up to this past weekend, was 6 miles. And obviously that's a far cry from 26.2. And so I said, I'm going to try to run 13 miles this weekend. And if that goes okay, I'll try to run, 15 or 16 the following weekend. And if that goes okay, then yeah, I might be in for it. But I went out there on Saturday and it was a little bit cooler, which was nice. And I ran 11 and a half. I probably could have ran a little farther. I misjudged my the distance that I was going out and came back and I was a mile and a half short. But I'm one of those people, like most people, if they were at 11 and a half, they're fanatical about their watches and everything. No, I get to the house, I'm done. I don't, whatever distance I'm at, when I get back to the house or psychologically, I tell myself I'm done. That's it. I'm done. I don't care anymore at that point. So I ended at 11 and a half miles. And I was hurting the rest of the day. And then I got up to ride on Sunday and I'm I'm riding with Hugh, who you know, and Greg, who's training for Ironman Arizona. And they were going out. Greg had about 85 miles, and I was like, can't go that far. I'll go as far as I can. We go into Nocatee, and we do a loop there, and I break a spoke. And so my wheel is totally out of true, and it's just rubbing on my brakes. And they're like, oh, come on, it's not that bad. You're good. So I'm like, all right. So I'm pedaling. You know, all my brakes are just rubbing. My quads are on fire right now. And so I told myself, when I get back to Mickler's, I'm done. I'm cashing it in. I'm going home. I'm taking my toys and I'm going home. And inconceivably, as you know, you can talk me into pretty much anything by betting me. And so they talked me into going down A1A, down to the gas station down there, which is 10 or 11 miles farther south, and then I had to turn around, come back. And coming back, of course, there was a heavy headwind, which made my life miserable for the last 12 to 14 miles that I had. And yeah, I was tapped out the rest of the day, man. That was a long training weekend for me.
I was going to ask you, what are the chances of you doing a full Ironman again on a scale of 1 to 10? What are the chances? 10 being definitely doing it, 1 being not a chance.
1. Never say never, but pretty close to never.
I thought we were going to have a 4. I was guessing. I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, I thought there'd be a 4, maybe a 3. You know, because I didn't think we'd get
almost went 2, but then decided I feel better at 1. You really thought it was going to be a lot
less
4?
Pressure.
1 is a lot less pressure.
Yeah, I thought there'd be a 4.
You know what was funny? So I'm sitting there, and Sky sends me a text, and she goes, "Hey, I'm looking at this Des Moines triathlon. This sounds kind of fun." I'm like, and I laugh because I've been talking about Des Moines for the entire time we've been doing this podcast about what a great city it is. And, you know, everybody, you know, nobody's going to Des Moines, Iowa, unless you have a specific reason to go there. And she seemed like she would be in on that, but I'm not in. I'll go spectate. But
I'll cheer.
That's about it.
I'll cheer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Why? Why? You're going to try to talk me into doing an Ironman? Is that the thing? Or
no. I like you. You know, I like your free will of setting it at 1. I like that. I like that number.
Speaking of Ironman triathlons, or I should not say Ironman, we may get a letter, an official letter from Ironman saying that we can. So Challenge Roth, did you see we talk about all these races being canceled and people being a little hesitant about signing up for some races. It took Challenge Roth all of 1 minute to sell out their race for next year.
Wow. That's like a good concert, right? Yeah, everybody sitting there on the refresh button, just ready to go. Got to spend my $800. Go.
It's burning a hole in my pocket. I gotta go.
Right? Literally 1 minute. Is that what you're saying?
That is what it said. It said It sold out. And let me look. Dativ Challenge Roth sold out in under 1 minute. And let's see, that is I think it's the largest triathlon in the world too. So, yeah. So if you want to get in there, good luck. You got to be ready to click that submit button when you're ready to go.
Yeah, don't rest on that. You got to go.
So we had talked.
That's good stuff, though. I mean, it shows the appetite for the sport. It shows the appetite. These people have been sitting around, building up some training and building up some, saving some money. They're not out there spending money, and all of a sudden they've got an opportunity. They're gonna jump on it. So, hey, man, it's good for the sport to see something like that.
It is, and I don't know if it's just because obviously that would be an amazing venue to do it. And I know Joel, when we were talking about what races should Dan do in 2022, he put that on there. It was an absolute no at that point, because I don't even want to talk that distance out there. But we had Sam on last week, and he was up in North Carolina doing the 70.3 up there, and he told this funny story. Well, it's kind of funny because the guy was not injured. And then I looked up, and on the local news, they have the headline, and it says triathlon participant rescued after plunging 50 feet off a bridge. And I only looked it up, and I say it's a funny story because Sam had told me the story that he goes, he's like, we were riding down a hill, and all of a sudden this guy bombs past me, taking the curve like he is an absolute pro. And he's running down. He takes one of the curves too wide, hits the guardrail, goes over the side of the bridge, and lands in a bed of mud about 50 feet down. And of course, he's like, holy crap, what just happened? So the guy yells, people are looking over the side of the bridge being like, what just happened to this guy? I guess he was down there laying in the mud, and he goes, I'm fine. He goes, can someone bring me my bike down here? Only in triathlon or endurance sports.
He finished?
No, they wouldn't.
Did he finish?
No, they wouldn't let him finish. So the only way that they could get him out, obviously they had to, take the rescue, and they, propelled some people down to get him out there. But it was just funny. He's laying in the mud. I'm picturing some guy laying in the mud like this, just looking up at people and being like, bring my bike. And first of all, how do you not get hurt? You go over a rail, you fall 50 feet in mud, and you're fine? Like, how does that happen?
It's just a flesh wound. It's only a flesh wound. I can continue.
I'm good. I'm just gonna rub some Robitussin on it. I'll be all right.
I'll be fine. Hey, a couple weeks ago we talked about the heavily anticipated showdown between the modern day GOAT Jan Frodeno and the two-time 70.3 champion Gustav Iden at Ironman, California. It was canceled. An hour before the race. They had they call it a bomb cyclone came over California, and conditions were unsafe for the swim and the bike, and they had to cancel the race in the entirety. They were going to try to get some of the I think they had canceled the age groups and we're going to try to get the pros off, and finally they just said, no, we can't do this. We have a bomb cyclone. I've never heard that term before, Dan, but it sounds devastating.
Yeah, they had a couple bomb cyclones up north when they were having nor'easters. They were having like lightning and thunder followed by snow and ice and sleet. It's like the worst of everything all together. And obviously when you're out in California, it's a little bit different. The winds looked horrific out there. It just didn't look like they could keep anybody safe there. It's been a bad year for Ironman. As we always talk about, everything they do is wrong. Obviously they had to take people's lives into consideration and the safety of everybody. So, this might have been the one right decision that they made during this entire year, but bad luck for them. I mean, my God, you've had to cancel so many races, and then all of a sudden you're ready to put on a race, and boom, the weather comes in, and it's one of those unfortunate things. There's nothing you can do about that.
I just, like you said, it just seems like the bad luck follows them around. I watched the actual the radar of this storm coming in, and all of California, all of the West Coast, it was just like beelining right over where the race was, and that was it. And it was, how the radar is blue and red, and it was just bright red right over this one. It's like, how could these race directors are like, well, give us a break for once, just give us one break. I don't know. It just was so weird. So weird.
It is. Yeah. I mean, the weather has been I mean, incredible. I mean, we talked about some of the heat at some of the races, and then you get some of this weather, and you just wonder, are you going to get extreme colds at some of these others? Like, obviously, now with California being canceled, and we were hoping to see the Jan versus Lionel versus Gustav, and that didn't happen. But I mean, a small second place Ironman Florida takes place this weekend, and obviously in Florida they've had red tide there, and it's been there for like the last 10 days. I don't know what's going to happen there. They might have some issues there with the water. They may have to cancel that if the red tide's still there. So that'll be interesting to see. But are you as interested in seeing? And I'm going to name probably the top 3 people that are going to be racing in Florida versus, I mean, obviously you had Lionel, you had Gustav, and you have Frodeno, which is, probably the creme de la creme of the people racing there. So in Florida, you have Patrick Lang and you have Lionel and Gustav. I mean, is that almost as good? Is that still intrigue you to see what's going on? And I think it's weird that nobody talks about Patrick Lang. Like, I think that guy is legit.
He's an afterthought at this point, right? Yeah, I think it's a great. Obviously, I think it's a great field, and it's a great opportunity for Ironman Florida, because I don't think Gustav or Lionel Sanders was going to be racing that race. I could be mistaken. I think Sanders already has 4 or 5 full distance races under his belt this year. I don't think he would have been racing a couple weeks after Ironman California. I could be wrong, but to have that kind of matchup shift from California over to Ironman Florida, I think it's great for Ironman Florida and their appeal for the race. Definitely.
Do you like that race? Just out of curiosity, do you like the flat, fast courses where people are blazing faster? Do you like the tough, grueling, grinding, mentally exhausting races?
Well, I think we've talked about this in the past. We talked about in relation to moving Ironman World Championship Kona into other venues and kind of giving athletes an opportunity to test themselves a little bit differently. Obviously, Ironman Florida is going to be different from some of the other more technical races on the bike, where you're going to get in Florida, you get into aero, and you're going to be in aero the entire time. So you've got to be fit and ready to endure that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different race. I think it appeals to some of the different riders. So, I think both of them have their appeal. Somebody that can just get into aero and grind it out for that length of time and show what they've got. That's a skill and a something that that ain't easy.
It's not easy. I mean, either one. It's. I mean, the distance is the distance. It's not easy either way. But I think it's a different mental grind. From being an aero and trying to go as fast as you can to being a little bit more strategic on some of those different hillier courses out there. So the course record set by Joe Skipper back in 2019 is a 7:46:28, and Katrina Matthews has the record on the women's side at 8:40:50 that she did in 2020. What do you think the odds that either one of those records or both of those records go down? You're a betting man. You have to put a amount of money that matters to you. Are you saying yay or nay?
I think so. I think these guys can go out and put those times up. The conditions, I just looked online right before we came on here. The conditions are going to be good. It's going to be nice and cool. Might even be a little bit of wet. But I think the conditions are going to be good for them over there. So obviously those numbers can be brought down from that field. We've got Cameron Wolf and Metzler are also going to be in the field, kind of pushing that pace. So I think there's an opportunity, definitely.
I'm going to say that it's broken. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say yes. What are you saying for time? I'm going to say that if it's going to be broken, it's going to be broken by 2 minutes. I'm going to say the record's 7:46. I say they're going 7:44 if they're going to break that.
Mark it down, 7:44 for Dan on the men's side. Sky Munchen is the top-ranked female coming into this race. She's going to be toeing the line along with Heather Jackson. Heather Jackson will be wearing bib number 1, and she will finish in 4th place.
As always, put your money on it. Heather Jackson, 4th place, right?
She brings home 4th like nobody.
Nobody's business.
She's gonna kick my ass someday. I'm gonna open my door. She's gonna be, her tatted self's gonna be standing there. It's gonna be scary. And I'm gonna cry.
Although she's about 5'1". So
yeah, I mean, she looks scary. I'd still be scared of her. I'd still be scared of her.
Even Rich, you could like step on her.
Yeah, she.
What size bike do you ride? You're 5'1". What do you ride? Like a 48?
It's got to be a 48, right? Janine rides a 48. She's 5'0". She is. She rides a 48.
I know. She's taller than Heather Jackson, though, isn't she?
I don't think so. Janine's little. Janine's tiny. She's 5 foot.
Janine could like Janine like fits in my pocket.
She's a pocket wife. I just pull her out. Whoop. Oh my goodness.
Now you're really in trouble.
She's so special. I love her so much. No, not at all. I love her. She's perfect. She's perfect. One thing these guys are racing for is the PTO race for the rankings, which will end of the season they give out $2 million paid to the top 100 male and female athletes. And so I think I didn't see what I should have written it down. But the differences, we've got Lionel Sanders, who's right now he's ranked 6th in the PTO rankings, and the difference between 5th and 6th is 10K, and we're coming up to the end of the year. So these athletes are racing for those PTO numbers and those PTO. I think Sanders is less than a point away in their ranking system from 5th place, and that's worth an extra $10,000. So they're not only racing for the $15,000 first prize, which will come along with winning the Ironman Florida. They're also looking to notch up 1 or 2 rankings or whatever they can for that end of the season ranking, so they can collect some of that payday from the PTO.
I agree with you. I mean, you finish first or number 1 ranking at the end of the year, $100K. But yeah, as you said, fifth and 6th is $60,000, $50,000 difference out there. And then, but they rank, they pay out, even though it's not a ton of money. I mean, an extra 50, if you're ranked 51 to 100, you get an additional $2,000, 21 to 50, you get an additional $5,000 on top of the prize purse. But you know what's crazy? Like if you look at the earnings that you get for competing at this Ironman for the pro, like you said, the winner is $15,000. 10th place is $1,000. I mean, that is barely covering the cost of you getting to the race.
$1,000 isn't covering your costs. It's not covering.
It is if you live in Florida.
Yeah, okay, whatever. If you're driving over from Tallahassee and you're carpooling with somebody and sharing gas money, it's covering your costs. But I thought the same thing. I looked at that just before we came on. It's $15K for first in men's and women's, obviously, and $9K for second. So there's a considerable gap between first and second. If you're racing for first and $6,000, that's a considerable amount of money, but it drops down pretty quick to $1,000 top 10. So, man, $1,000 is. I just say,
why bother? Why bother? Like, so it's the top 10, 15,000, 9,000, 7, 5, 4. If you finish in 5th place at an Ironman branded event, you are winning $4,000.
Yeah, you're the fifth best racer in this huge event, and you're winning $4K. And I thought about this exact same thing today. I looked at that and I was like, that's pitiful.
It's pathetic. It's 6th place, 3,000, 7th, 2,500, 8th, 2,000, 9th, 1,500, and 10th, $1,000. I mean, we know people that, wipe themselves with more than $1,000. I mean,
every
I
day.
mean, it's just crazy that you could go and spend as much time racing and perfecting your body to be at and competing at such a high level. And if you walk away with $1,000, I mean, thank God PTO came in here and actually gave these people, something else to race for, because, just as we, talk about in the UFC, those guys, I mean, they're getting paid, eight, 100 times what these people are getting paid, but for what their bodies go through, I don't think they get paid enough either. And, same goes for this as Ironman. I know it's a catch-22 kind of for Ironman because there's money just coming out of their pocket, because I don't think, as we've talked about, whether you have, a stacked pro field there, it's not bringing any more people to the race. It's, it's just too bad. Yeah.
To this, I don't know the answer to this, and it's nothing that I think we've ever discussed. Do pros, the pro entry fee, are they paying the exact same amount as an amateur, or are they paying what are they paying to enter a race? Are they paying the exact same to enter Ironman?
No, they pay less. I want to say their entry fee is it's like 250 or $300 or something like that. It's not on the same level, but it's still substantial. Like if you're going and you have a chance, let's just say, hey man, I hope to crack the top 10. Win $1,000 and throwing 300, hopefully their sponsors are taking care of some of that, or taking care of some of the hotels. Yeah. I mean, but you just don't know.
Dude, you're entering 3 or 4 Ironmans a year, and you're hoping to bring home, if you get the top 10 in each, you're bringing home $3K. Come on, man.
You're finishing the top 10 in every race you do. With $3K.
Jesus.
We need to get somebody from Ironman on this and talk about this prize purse. That's ridiculous.
That's terrible, man. I think my point was are they adding more to the prize purse? And I think about pickleball for one is the prize purse is the pro's prize purse is partly made up of pro entry fee. So you got 25 pros entering. That's the bulk of the prize purse. So I didn't know if how that works and how that's. But you've got, how many people are going to race Ironman Florida?
You're probably going to have
people?
2,500, 2,700, somewhere around there.
At how much? How much?
$800 a pop, probably.
Do the math there.
Oh,
somebody
man.
needs to.
Someone's got to do the math.
What I mean? And then the top 10.
It's 2,160,000
on Saturday. Top 10.
You got 2.16 mil.
Yeah, we're going to crack out $1,000 to number 10.
Hey, what do you think about this? Would pros be more likely to pay more higher entry fee if all that money went back to the pros? Like, if you were a pro, would you throw in $1,000 for a chance to have a prize purse of $25,000 or $30,000?
I think you're kind of betting on yourself, right? You're having if you're willing to throw out the $1,000 entry fee, you're willing to say that I'm going to go out and beat. I think I'm competent to win that money.
Yeah, I mean, but every pro towing the line has to think that it could be their day. They not be ranked a high, but that's a long day. I mean, you're talking 7.5, 8 hours of racing. A lot can go wrong. We always talk about this. Look at Lionel up in Coeur d'Alene. I mean, he's out there and racing well, and all of a sudden, nutrition fails him a little bit, and he limps it home. But you just never know out there. So, I mean, I think every competitor, when you're out there and competing at that level, you have to say, I can win on any given day.
They wouldn't be out racing if they didn't think they could win, I would think, on that level.
So at that point,
I was surprised to see that. Yeah, I mean, I would do it. If you think you're trained enough and you're putting yourself out there, then you'd be willing to put your money where your mouth is, I guess.
Yeah, I think we need some of these sponsors to get in. We always talk about the different mentalities of everybody and personalities of the athletes out there. I think you'd get a little bit more. I like the mano y mano stuff. Let's do that. Let's call people out. Let's do, I'm just a big fan of that. I just like it. What, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting conundrum. I mean, like you said, I mean, Ironman's kind of, I feel like they've been trying to get rid of the pros for like the last 5 years instead of, embracing them.
Now we definitely talked about that. I don't think people race a race specifically because pros are racing that race. I don't think the amateurs are looking at it in that way. They're never going to see the pros racing. They're never going to see them at all. I don't think many amateurs go out and put down their $800+ because the Lionel Sanders, because of the Idens, because the Ferdanios of the world are racing in that race. I don't believe that's a fact. So I can understand from Ironman's point of view, why keep dumping money in these prize purses if it's not going to raise a level of our participation for our race.
I agree. What about, and we said 2,500, 2,700 people racing. There's probably going to be more, right? They canceled Ironman California. So they had to open back up Florida, and I'm sure they opened up Cozumel and, with Arizona. They had to have done that, right? You can't keep canceling all these races and then not reopening other races. Otherwise, there's never going to be a race that people are going to pay to get back into for like the next 3 years because everybody's deferred.
Yeah. How much can you defer that? And I think Ironman Florida would be a race that they could put on and add to the numbers. Obviously, it's ocean swim. It's a 2-loop swim. It's kind of out and back bike ride, cycling. And so that seems to be a race that I would think that they could add more participants if they needed to.
They definitely could. It's a 1-loop bike course. So yes, I mean, you could definitely have more people out there on the run. So, I mean, if they were going to do it, that would be a place to do it. I mean, when you talk about Arizona, you have a 3-loop bike course, that would get a little crowded out there if you had, 5,000 athletes competing.
Hey, I was surprised we talked about the PTO rankings coming into the final month or so, 2 months here of the season. And Gustav Iden is first place. He's ranked number 1 in the PTO rankings, followed by Ferdinand, and Sam Long is in third place.
Man, he's had an incredible year, man. Look at the, he's getting, he's basically, known to a few people at the beginning of the year, and man, he worked his ass off. He ruffled some feathers, took a little shots along the way, but came back and obviously, as we saw, I mean, won Ironman Coeur d'Alene. He came in second at the 70.3 World Championships. He's definitely made a name for himself for sure.
So, and kind of looking at the end of the season, you can see Gustav Iden, you see Ferdinand, and I don't know how their ranking system works, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I didn't think Iden and Ferdinand were that far apart, but the difference in first place and second place money was significant. So I don't know how you distance yourself, how you here at the end of the season, if there's opportunity for Ferdinand to catch up and pass Iden, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how that point system is calculated. Any knowledge?
I don't, but I don't think Ferdinand cares at this point. That guy has not lost a race in that, I don't know how long. And he's, we talk about the top tier, you have your Craig Alexander, you had your Chris McCormick back in the day, and now you have Jan. I mean, I don't think they really care, about a couple $1,000 here or there. I think they're doing pretty well.
I think it was significant. I think it was a significant amount. Yeah, you're right. At that point, it's probably not. Yeah,
I mean, you're talking 10. I think it was $10,000 difference between 1 and 2, right? Or each level dropped down. No, it wasn't that much money. I don't think.
Okay, I thought it was more significant between first and second. Lucy Charles Barclay and Dan is first in the females, ranked number 1, followed by Daniela Reef and Laura Phillip, number 3 coming into the end of the season.
So who you got? Yeah, are they gonna remain that way? I don't know if any of them are racing in Arizona or not later this year, or Cozumel.
Yeah, I didn't see that either. So I think that those numbers probably, I don't know if they can ruffle those numbers up enough to make a jump in first and second. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Hey, a little bit off topic. A few weeks ago, I know, we've had differences. We met Triathlon Terran at Endurance Exchange, and, you were a fan, and I didn't really care much one way or the other. But I know you were talking to him. I saw a post.
Speaking of short, speaking of small, short people.
I think you were standing.
He's your pocket podcaster. He's a pocket podcaster.
He was standing two stadium steps higher than you, and you were looking at him eye level.
And I'm not a tall man. I'm 5'11" and 7'8". So I'm not a tall man compared to you. So he's not a towering figure.
No, but I saw a few weeks ago he was did a post, and he was basically getting flack for because he called everybody trainiacs and train as hard as you can for all this time and do it, and then apparently he changed his philosophy on it, and a lot of people were giving him crap about it, and it's like, we're no longer going to be called trainiacs and all this stuff, and it's like, who cares? You change your philosophy, people do it all the time. What does it matter? Well, you don't have to. I just felt it was unnecessary that he had to come out and apologize to people for his philosophy and what he was doing, and now that he's changing, he had to come out. And I just, like I said, not that I care. I didn't care one way or the other for the guy when I met him, but I just thought that was just like we did with Sam Long when he had to come out and say, "Oh, I apologize earlier this year." Don't.
So let me get this straight. So people were upset. There was a group of people that were upset that he was calling them trainiacs, that he was referring to these people to like it was demeaning to them for that terminology. I don't understand.
No, he was saying no, because the trainiac is like train like a maniac all the time, like go as hard as you can and put in volume and do the work. And now he's changed his philosophy to a little bit more like, you don't need to train like that to be successful. You need to, give your body recovery time. You need to go out there and do, whether it be a slower, longer run or things like that. Just, obviously things evolve. You read more, you learn more, and things change. I don't think you need to apologize for that.
I'm with you on that, Dan. The cancel culture getting to him, and people pressuring him to deviate from who he is. He's been the trainiac. That's his thing. Let him do his thing. If you don't like it, don't listen to him. Don't follow him. But don't try to make him change who he is and how he's gotten to.
Well, no. He was saying he was changing his philosophy. But the people that he was basically coaching for the past, 5-10 years, they were upset that he was no longer trained like a maniac, that he was changing his philosophy. And why do people get butthurt about everything, man? It's just
a lot of butthurt in the world, Dan. A lot of butthurt. Yeah, that's
speaking of.
So go. If you're gonna speak of butthurt, go ahead.
No, I wasn't. No, I was gonna. No, I was moving on. I don't know what I was gonna say.
I think we should move on. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of whatever the trainiac guy, but if that's how he is. That's who he is. That's his brand. Basically, that's his brand. And don't just continue on. The way to get good at something is work your ass off at it, whatever it is. Keep working. Don't ever take a day off.
We take days off all the time. We're like, yeah, are we going to do the podcast
oh
this
my
week?
gosh, I live. No. Hey, we're close to 100. I wish somebody would count and see how many we are, because I would hate for us to get to 100 and just go right by it. We're close. I think we're like, if I had to guess, we're at 98 or 99. So that would be my guess. But
okay. Before we do our next podcast, I need to count episodes, because I do not want to pass 100 without.
So somewhere along the line, one of us started calling it season number 2, episode number 1, instead of episode number 47. We went season 2, and that just confused me. Well, I have no idea what number we're on now. So all of a sudden, so one of us did that. I don't know which one, but one of us.
It would be me. I thought it would. I thought it would. If we could show that, hey, we've been around for 3 seasons. I thought that'd be a. I thought that'd be. I
got you. I got you. The premise of saying of our longevity and our duration, because sometimes longevity and duration are important.
Sometimes. All right, I'm ready for 3.
Hey Dan, do you have 3 questions? You got 3 questions. We're at 54 minutes. 4
I have
seconds.
Some questions.
So, the World Series was going on last week.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Braves. Congratulations to the Atlanta Braves. They won the World Series. How many World Series championships have the Atlanta Braves won in their history?
Oh man, I am going to say that they have won only as the Atlanta Braves, or I can't remember. They were the Milwaukee Braves for a while. I don't know if they won back then. I'm going to say, I know they won in 95. It's been 26 years. Congratulations, Atlanta. You finally became relevant again. Jump back on the scene. You guys are all happy. Yeah. Good for you. So 95 this year. And then I'm going to say they probably won one other time. So I'm going to say 3 championships.
We have 4 championships for Atlanta Braves. The last one was in 95. You're correct on that. I don't have a list of the other ones, but they were a long time ago.
Well, they way back when they were the Boston Braves.
They were Boston Braves?
Yeah, way back. I
wasn't. So here's my thing. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I do know that the Atlanta Braves had a run where their pitchers were as good as anyone. And I want to think where they had Smoltz, they had Glavine, they had Maddox. And is that in that 95 run? Would that have been in that time frame? I think it probably would have been, right?
It was.
So are you saying they only won 1 championships with that pitching crew? That's incredible to me.
I felt
like they were I felt like they were in the National League Championship every single year.
They were. I think they won, and I'm going to say a number, and I'm guessing, so don't hold me to that, but I want to say they won like 12 out of 13 pennants in the NL East for a while. They made the World Series a couple times. I know they lost to the Yankees one time and maybe twice. So they were in the World Series a couple times, but they were only able to win in 95. But yes, you had 3 Hall of Fame pitchers on your staff.
That seems incredible to me. I read that and I looked back and saw that they had only won 1 in that period of time. And it seemed like they were there every single year. So, I guess they just couldn't close that out.
Baseball's tough, man. 162 games, and you get into, back then they were 7-game playoff series every time. I mean, it's a grind, and you run into some hot pitchers, just like in hockey. You run into a hot goaltender. It doesn't really matter. I mean, the Braves, legitimately, they only won 88 games this year. They would have finished 5th place in the American League East. I mean, that's how their record is, and they ended up winning the World Series. I mean, you get hot at the right time, and hitters get locked in and dialed in. I mean, it's just, it's one of those things. You don't want to be hot at the beginning of the season, Rich. You want to be hot at the end, right?
No, you want to finish strong. Finish strong, bud.
All right, Rich, my first question for you. Obviously, we're getting into winter season here. Everybody in Florida is bundled up in blankets and parkas and wearing their snow boots now because it's less than 70 degrees. And I saw this weekend it's going to get down to 48. What is the coldest or the lowest recorded temperature on planet Earth?
Oh my gosh, on planet Earth, I'm going to say minus 31 degrees.
The lowest recorded temperature is minus 128.6 degrees in Vostok, Antarctica.
I can't even imagine that. I I was at minus 31. I thought that was cold.
I mean,
That's just ridiculous.
I mean, at some point, does minus 50 feel that much colder, or minus 100 feel that much colder than minus 50? I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Everything's frozen. Everything's frozen solid. Everything when you hit everything, it just breaks off. You walk around, your legs just snap off. It's got
All right,
to,
what
right?
you got number?
Hey, so I know you're a big Boston Red Sox fan, and I know that sitting at home watching the World Series without the Boston Red Sox didn't make you happy. But the Boston Red Sox are tied for third with how many championships?
I think
This isn't the question. This isn't the question.
I think we've won 8.
I've got you down for 9. The last championship coming in 2018. But who are you tied with?
Oh, I'm going to say we are tied with Cincinnati.
No, I don't think I wrote it down. I think you're tied with the.
No.
Oh yes, you're tied with the Athletics. Oakland Athletics. They also have 9. That surprised me. So you said the Reds. I was thinking the Reds would be there. Big Red Machine. I thought they had a lot of them back when I was a kid. They only have 5 championships total.
Okay. I know they went back to back, I think, in 90 and 91. And yeah, that's surprising. I thought they obviously they've been around for a long. I mean, they were the first professional team, the Cincinnati Red Stockings, I think they were called, back in the 1800s. But yeah, so yeah, you like that. Yeah, 5. I'm shocked on 5. So it's yeah, I was hoping the Red Sox were
big red machine, right? I thought they probably won like just 17 of them just in the 70s or 80s.
Yeah, I mean the 70s they were unbelievable team for sure.
Huh. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way.
I go back and forth. Yeah, he bet. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anytime you're betting and you have control over the outcome of the game, I mean, that's kind of tough.
He supposedly bet on his own team, bet to win, correct? I mean,
if you're betting to win. Well, yeah. Well, you could do that, or you could play to just cover the spread.
There's no spread in baseball.
Well, there's over-unders. There's over-unders.
There's definitely over-unders. I don't, but there's no spread in baseball, so there's no.
Okay, but if you were so if they say over/under, Reds are scoring 5 runs. I mean, you have control over whether or not you can make that happen. I mean, did you watch Bad Sport on Netflix? It was one of them was on the 1994 Arizona State point shaving scandal. Which was pretty unique. They had the guys that were involved talking about how they did it. And
so is Arizona State basketball?
Yeah.
It was basketball? Okay.
Yep.
I'll check it out.
So,
I'll check that out.
Yeah, you need to.
But I mean, basketball, that would be easy if you're point shaving in basketball, correct?
It was a little bit easier. He was the point guard. So he's like, I could control everything. He would, and he always tried to win the game. But not win by too much. He always wanted to cover. So there was who
was paying him?
He got into, he was only going to do it for 2 games originally because he got into a bookie that he knew on campus at Arizona State. Yeah. So he was in for like 20 grand and he couldn't pay the guy. So they figured out a way. And then his friend got in with another guy and they, but then he was out. He was done after 2 games. They walked away and he called the bookie with the big bookie and bet on himself against I think it was UCLA, who was ranked to like top 2 in the country. And he bet on himself to win and they ended up losing that game. So then he had to go back in and fix more games.
Yeah, it just gets in deep.
Yeah, you just get in deep and deep. Anyway, second question. 25 years ago, we talked about the Braves last won the World Series. I'm going to list 4 things that were pretty big that happened back then. And which one seems the biggest headlines to you? Amazon was founded back in 1995.
What were they selling?
Michael Jack Bezos was selling out of his garage at that time. Michael Jackson married Lisa Marie Presley back in 1995. OJ made his infamous Bronco ride.
I mean, that's the biggest story of the year. Biggest story of the year, right?
Well, and Nancy Kerrigan got beat down by Galooly.
Why?
Why?
Why? Why? Oh, Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding, man, what a great human being that was. Oh my gosh. No, I think OJ is still the story of the year if you're looking at that. Obviously, in hindsight and retrospect, the Bezos thing, who would have predicted that Amazon would grow to be what it is today? But I think that even as time goes on, the OJ Simpson, Nicole Simpson story is the biggest.
Yeah, I agree for sure. So
I think that was the beginning of the sensationalized media that we have right now. I can't think of anything before that kind of drew that attention. And then after that, the media had to always kind of one up and try to keep up with that. And obviously it was impossible to keep up with that story. They certainly do try.
You're right. They had all the cop cars. They had the helicopter above. They shut down the road. I mean, yeah, that was a spectacle for sure.
The white Bronco. Dan, we're going to go back to baseball. Obviously, the New York Yankees have 27 world championships. I'm sure you're glad to hear that. And the Red Sox are tied for third. I was surprised to see who number 2 was. Who do you think number 2 is in the list of world championships in baseball?
Number 2, man. I mean, you're putting me on the spot, and I can't even.
Yeah, they have 11 championships. So
I know.
They haven't won one since 2011, so that puts things in perspective there.
Oh man, the team I was gonna say it's not. I don't know.
St. Louis Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, are you kidding me? God,
they have 11. So that surprised me. I wouldn't have thought that.
That's terrible, Dan. That's so bad that I couldn't even think of that.
Wow, that's terrible, Dan. You scolded yourself in third person.
That is. I can't believe I couldn't think of that.
That's terrible, Dan.
That's terrible, Dan. Terrible.
Bad Dan. Yeah. Bad Danimal.
That was terrible. Oh man. I don't have a third question, Rich. I fell short.
Well, Dan, I think that's enough. I feel like we've been vindicated from me missing a show. I've enjoyed this hour and with you, and we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, sometime. We're gonna keep. We're not gonna tell you when we're doing it. We're just gonna keep you guessing. Hopefully, you keep you wanting more, right?
Yeah, we come to you every once in a while with the latest news information from the worlds of triathlon and endurance sports. Are you going to be going to Ironman Florida by chance?
I don't think I'm going there this weekend. Unless we make a last minute decision, I don't think I'm going to be there. Are you?
Yeah, we do have some. No. I don't think I am, but I know that I think Janine's going over Friday morning.
Is she really?
Her good friend Elizabeth Kenny's racing, so we will be. My good friend also, so we'll be over there. So we wish her the best of luck, and I know we've got some other stellar athletes over there, so I think Janine's going over.
Yeah, we will have a bunch out there. While Janine's out there, tell her she needs to go run into Jeannie Metzler and Justin Metzler and get them back on the show.
I will. I'll tell her to see how hard she can punch the Mets in she'll take a punch.
I assure she's racing at such a high level right now. I assure you that dollar figure is a lot higher than it was last year.
It's going. Price is going up. Price of punches is going up.
All right, Rich. Talk soon, buddy. I enjoyed it. It's so good to have you back, buddy. I miss my counterpart here on the Dan Gets Rich podcast.
Thanks, Dan. Same to you, buddy. Talk to you soon.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye-bye.